Hi, what's up guys? So, today we're covering a very hot topic, and some people are gonna hate me and some people are gonna love this video, but to each their own. I don't really care. I love doing what I do, and I love the sport of efoiling, and I'm glad I can take this opportunity and give you all something that you guys have been waiting for, and the comparison of the Lift 4.2 Pro V4 and the Flite Ultra board. It's a 4.2 technically, the size is, and we've got both the largest batteries. We got a full range Lift battery, and we have an Explorer battery. So we're gonna be testing out both of these things, both of these boards, and give you a comparison on the top two brands of Efoills, Lift and Flite. So y'all stay tuned and see you guys in just a little bit. All right, so finally, I am able to show you guys. All right, so finally, I am gonna be able to bring you guys a video between the two boards, Flite and Lift. The Flite Ultra board and the Flite V4 Pro, and it's a 4.2 board now with a 32-inch mast, a 170 high aspect with a 26 carb, full carbon fuselage, full carbon mast, full carbon board with the red paint, and a carbon fiber nose guard from Foil Factory. I have these nose guards on all my boards, so if you guys want one, check them out at Foil Factory. They're out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Give Paul or Anna a call or email them and give them your exact model on the EFOIL, and they will get you situated on a nose guard. Back to it. Full carbon fiber, everything on the Lift. So on the Flite, we have an aluminum mast, 75 centimeters. We have a carbon fiber Flow 900, 245 rear wing. And now, so I got this shimmed. I got a -3 in the front and -4 in the back. So this requires a little bit more back foot pressure, not as much front foot pressure. So it is gonna be different, you know. We got some different things on this. They, you know, obviously there's a huge debate between Flite and Lift, and I'm here to basically show you everything that the difference in these boards are. And yeah, so let's get started on number one thing, difference. Let's break it into it. Let's get into it right away. And basically, let's start with the lids and interior of the Efoil. So, Flite, there's nothing to it. Absolutely nothing to it. You got positive, you got negative, and you got a battery hook. That is it. Sweet, simple, it's very straightforward. You know, it's just like hooking up a battery. You get your positive terminal and you got your negative terminal. Hook it right up to the battery, it's a piece of cake. There's absolutely nothing else inside here except for this is the battery compartment. This is where your battery sits. You got all your little lights, what they mean and everything. Warning symbols and all that fun stuff. Now with Lift, we got a bunch of stuff. Now to some that have never bought a Efoil, they might look at this and be like, wow, this is a lot. What is all this? Well, this is going to be your positive and negative battery terminal. These are basically going to be your cables that run the motor down there, and it runs all the data and everything comes to the e-box. So to some people, it looks a little confusing. You know, you got a bunch of wires and everything versus that, you know, 2 wires only for flight versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things you got to hook up. Let's run it down. So basically, you got to look around. Okay, so this one is green. See the little green dot? You don't want to plug it in. This one is yellow. You don't want to plug it in. This one is red. We'll plug this one in. And then second, the water cooling line. Make sure that is hooked up. Let's do that differently. Underneath that one. So then we got our data cable ready to go. We got our water lines hooked up. We got all these color coordinated to the right spot. And then we got our main positive and negative terminal, which just slides right in and latches in as you turn this. So this should not be sitting in the sun. Anyways, this tells you basically everything you need to know about this battery. And it's a full range battery. Newest generation battery. And we got our Flite battery. So as you notice, 2 big differences right here. Lift, Flite. Flite comes factory with this case. Lift comes with just the battery. It's kind of really nice to have something that the battery can go into and be protected. Then you just know it's not in its elements to get all scratched up just like this, you know, because this is from stuff sitting on it, or it just rubbing up against stuff. So Explorer battery and the Lift full range battery. So the Lift full range battery is capable of 2.5 hours of ride time, as it is described basically and promoted on their website. I got very close to that. I think the longest I've ridden is, I think I've actually passed that because how slow you can ride. I think I've gotten upwards to like 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think. I can actually pull this up. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's definitely around the 2.5 hour mark. I can pull up some stats here, and I'm basically gonna pull them up from Strava and show you guys there. So, all right, so here we are talking about batteries. And one thing is, between the 2 batteries, we got a Lift full range battery, and we have a Flite cell Explorer battery, which is both their biggest batteries of both brands. So a little bit between the 2. Flite cell. The Explorer battery, ride time up to 2.5 hours. Weighs 32 pounds. The Lift full range battery says it weighs 26.7 pounds. Ride time for 2.5 hours. Supposedly you can charge the Lift within 50 minutes. If you ride it, I believe at 20% and you get off at 20%, it will charge within 50 minutes. The Flite cell, I would have to double check, which I will do right now. All right, that I cannot find how fast it charges. Well, I could probably find it if I called Justin, but I don't have time for that right now. Between the two batteries, you know, the Lift is a little bit lighter, but they say they both have the same amount of ride time. And this one just comes with a factory case, as I showed before, or, you know, as we took it out of the case, which is nice because it's very protective, you know. They both stand up very nice. This one's a little bit more rectangular, so it kind of stands up a little bit more solid than this one, you know, because this one can rock. It's a little bit tippy. This one, there's just like no possibility. I mean, unless you kicked it over, you know, that's definitely a shot then. The newer Lift batteries, they come with these little foot stands. They're rubber, which is nice. I can actually show you a video of the old style batteries that they had. Cut that in right now. And yeah, so pretty neat. You know, they're both very comparison in the same size. You know, if we were to, Flite is a little bit thinner, but it is what it is. And that's a little thicker too, I'm pretty sure. It might be the same thickness, I'm not sure. Anyways, okay, so everything that's on here: the Lift battery, the Flite cell, data cable connector spot. So this little attachment here is a cover for it when you're not using it. It's a little slot for when you're using the data cable. This is for your positive and negative. You hook that up, you slide it in. The only thing you have is your positive and your negative. You just slide your negative right, or your positive right on, and you slide your negative right on, and it hooks up right away. This right here is, I believe, for doing like data, like, I don't know. The guys that do all the updating and services on these, they know what that's for. This right here, this will let you know if there's water inside the battery. So I believe that turns into a color. And there, it's like a breather hole. And this basically lights up. These will light up and let you know how fully charged your battery is when it's on charge. So with Lift, it has a light right on the face of it. They all should light up, indicating the battery percentage, basically. So, all right, so I had a little mishap. Turns out my controller was super dead on the Flite controller, and I didn't have the charger with me, so I had to run home and go pick it up. So back to the Efoills. So the Efoills, Lift and Flite, they're the top two brands on the market right now. They're built very similar, but they're also built very differently. For one, like we have already gone through, Lift has a little bit more cables inside. It actually has a computer inside the board. Flite, their basically computer is built into the top of the mast. So when you bolt it in, it actually just slides right in. Right on top, it sits basically right on top of here. And this is basically it. There's like a big hollow rectangle in here that it slides up into the board, and then you only have the two wires. So it's real simple. Lift, you know, it has the mast, and then it just sits right on the board, and it gets screwed down, and then the wires come through, and you got to connect them all. So as earlier, we got them all connected. Big difference between Lift and Flite. Lift is actually water cooled. So it actually gets, with the motion of the speed of you going forward, it pushes water through this little eye hole, and it basically, with momentum, it shoots up and it goes up the mast, which comes out right here on the top of the mast, goes through here, connects here and into the E-box, and it cools the E-box. So that's exactly what that does. And then so once it cools the E-box, then it shoots out of the E-box over to here, comes here, and shoots out the bottom of the board. And that is right here. Call that the P hole, kind of just like a P hole on a outboard motor. Except for this is not gas, this is all electric. So sadly you do have to register these things. It sucks. We're right on the state line, Alabama and Florida, so it's basically all your little things, what you need to do, your warnings, dangers, do what to do, what not to do. Cool thing is, on the older versions of like the V3, they actually had stainless steel ones, not carbon fiber, so that's an upgrade. And they actually have breather holes, so the suction's not as bad. This one's painted. This was painted as well. This is fully carbon fiber. It's got a plastic insert. That's one thing that's different. This one is full carbon fiber, I believe. Yep, full carbon fiber, you can see it. It's literally all carbon fiber, so. Carbon fiber nose on there. Carbon fiber nose on the Flite board, the Flite Ultra. Big thing too, motor placement. So you got the wing, then you got your motor. Your wing and your motor is basically the same height as your front wing, and it basically, it's level with your front wing, which is right here. Level, basically. It's tilted forward right now because we're on a slope towards the water. But then that rear wing is actually below the propeller and the motor system. Obviously, lift as well. You know, the wings are below the wings, or the wing on the lift system is below the prop, but the prop sits higher than the front wing. It's not level with the front wing. So it does act a little different. It seems when I go in circles, I can breach the wing better on the Flite board versus the lift board, because it's with the rear wing farther under and the motor system level with the front wing, I can get higher and carve higher too. So that's a big difference. Not too much of a difference, but very different. So let's put the batteries inside here and see what the weight differences are. So we're gonna weigh the boards with and without the batteries inside, and then we're gonna show you guys how to install the batteries. That could have been a nightmare. Alright, so we're out here and we're about to get in the water. I'm about to install the batteries in these. So we're going to go over on how to install each battery in each board. We're going to start with the Flite board. So I like to keep these open if I'm not using this, only because you're putting less wear and tear on these seals if you leave it like this. If you leave it latched and close it and then fully close it and then put it in the board bag, it's very safe to do that. Just don't put too much weight on top of here because you may flex, like bend these just a tad. You don't want to do that. So just be cautious about putting weight on this door when it's closed. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open this up and get the battery. Like I've already mentioned, the Flite boards are a little bit less complex. It's a little bit more straightforward. You have two wires, orange and black, positive and negative. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the battery. We're going to set it in here. So I've heard a lot of people tearing the gasket down there, the rubber seal for the door. And how people do it is you do this and then you lift up and it kind of puts strain on that rubber seal. You don't want to do that. You want to go as far down as possible and then just let it slide in there. Get it further down. Pull these wires out and let it set in there. And it's basically ready to go. Then you connect each one, orange to orange, black to black. And then you're gonna wanna turn this battery lock so it locks your battery in. Basically, when we close the lid, now we're going to undo these clasps, turn them 90 degrees, doesn't matter which way, left or right. Turn 90 degrees upward, press down on the clasp. Same for the other side. And these are basically, it's kind of booting up and it's basically saying it's ready to go now. And that is because the charger, so it's not recognizing the charger is too far away now. So, yeah, so now with the lift board. Same with the lift board. I like to have these clasps closed so you don't put strain on this rubber seal, so you don't wear it out. So let's open this up, not too far. You don't want to put strain on them hinges down there. I see many people going way far, almost touching the ground. I don't think they realize that they put so much strain on these two hinges right here, and it's flexing the carbon fiber. I've seen many cases, like as right now, my battery hook is broken. What a shame. Should have that fixed for this video. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of strain on these two hinges in these two areas. So try to prevent your lid, your door, from going more than about 45 degrees, 50 degrees. I don't like it sitting straight up, nor do I like it sitting all the way touching the ground. It's absolutely bad for it. So we're gonna grab the battery and slide this one in. Basically grab that, make sure we're in. Turn this. All right, so we got our data connector. We only got two cables to hook up on this battery over here, but we got a couple more steps to do. So put that in, press down, get that latched in there. Basically, it's almost ready to go. So, on the difference between these two boards, Flite, you can just close the lid and it turns on by itself. Lift, you cannot do that. You have to press a button. Wait for it to turn on. Alright, so it is on now. That's the two different things about Flite and Lift. There's a magnet inside the door that basically turns the battery on to make it connect to the motor mast system. Lift, you have to turn this button on. You have to press this button, see a blue light, and then it turns on the whole system. So, and then basically, now we're ready to go. So what we do is we open these, turn them 90 degrees going up or down, turn them 90 degrees sideways, and latch them. And now it is ready to go. So, alright. Now, we're about to do some on-water testing, that sort of thing. We're going to do a little bit of throttle control. We're going to see how tight of a carve we can take. We both have very similar wings. It's obviously two different brands, but we have very similar wings on each eFoil. So the lift board, we're starting off with the 170 high aspect, and that's going to be, you know, real agile. You can carve real good with it. You can wing breach super good with it. At least I can. You know, there's several other people that can wing breach. This one's really good for that. The 26 carve is on the back, so it's going to be a little bit more agile. You know, the smaller the rear tail, the more agile it's going to be. The bigger the rear tail, the more calmer the ride it's going to be. It's going to add a little bit more balance to the ride. So on the flight board, we're going to have the Flow 900, and you can carve that thing so hard. It's very similar. We can wing breach it with the rear tail as a 245, and that is very good. It's, you know, it's very agile. You can carve real good. Difference between here, we can add a extension for the fuselage, and it's gonna bring this rear tail backwards. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna basically add stability and balance. You know, longer the fuselage, you know, the more the tail grabs, but it's gonna be a little bit more stable. So it's gonna add it by 2 inches, and the lift makes that it's a 2-inch extension for the fuselage, and that just adds more balance basically. So another thing with the Flite is we can actually so you gotta disassemble this whole thing basically. You gotta take the wing off separately to disassemble the wing from the motor mast system, and it's going to, ooh, look at all that salt. So it's basically going to come off from the propulsion unit, and then this rear tail, it's basically a rear tail fuselage, rear tail I call it, and it's going to be held on by a little screw at the bottom there, and it basically, this one is actually made from Efoilsolutions, and I still have to do a video on that, and it's going to be allow the rider to take sharper turns a lot faster, and you can hook so much harder with this short tail. So far I actually love it. I encourage everyone to go ahead and get one. I actually have a promo code which I will be dropping in this video, and then I will make a video on the short tail itself, and I will have the promo code there. So if you want to use the promo code right here, and you can save, I think it's like 10% on your checkout when you go ahead and place an order for the mini tail. You just look up, it comes in 2 colors. It either comes in black or silver. You can choose whether you want the long extended tail or if you want the mini short tail. I got the short tail, so yeah, so that is one thing. They don't really have anything for lift that you can like shorten this whole system from wingtip to wingtip, and so this is nice. It just allows you to carve a little bit harder, and it's kind of cool. It's definitely pretty neat. So we got both boards ready to go. So the lift controller, okay, so it is not paired. So I have to pair it together. So, how to pair the lift remote. You are going to want to, there's a little button right here. And you're going to want to hold it until you see the blue light on the ECU box turn off. Turn your controller off. And you're going to want to have, you got 10 seconds to press the minus and plus button and the power button at the same time. And then you're going to see a Bluetooth symbol. And now it is paired. Alright, so we got that paired together. And it's ready to go. So just a couple more minutes on the flight controller, and we will be all ready to go. So one thing, I don't know if you guys have already noticed in my videos, obviously since I've had the flight board for just a little while now, obviously there's sound that these things make, and there's actually been a couple comments, and they have realized for themselves that Flite board is a little bit louder. I don't know if it has anything to do with my setup specifically or not, but Flite board seems to be a little bit louder. I do know I hopped on the Ultra L2, and that board is absolutely quiet. It's not near as quiet as the Lift board, but it is much quieter than my Ultra board. So that is a huge thing that I want. I really want, you know, more quiet. It's not appealing to me hearing a ringing noise in my ear. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it has something to do with my board specifically or not, but the Lift board is a little bit quieter, and you guys will see it for yourselves in the videos. So we're gonna give my Ultra controller just a couple more minutes. Oh yeah, another thing I want to show you, see our battery percentage and basically your voltage on how your speed, and that's how fast you want to go. Perfect. So what I like to do, so I don't lose my remote, I like to just set it right there on that wing. Just have it get set up, ready to go. So looking forward to testing out both boards side by side. You know, I wish I had a copycat of me, basically a twin that was capable of doing everything to exactly what I can do, so we can ride right next to each other. But you know, that's not gonna happen. So I just have to do some testing, going back between the two, and doing some carving with the Flite Ultra, and then doing some carving with the Lift Pro, and then we are going to do some jumping with the Ultra, and then we're going to do some jumping with the Lift Pro board, and then to see how they work differently. You know, this video is not to bash anyone, and it's not to make anybody lean towards a different brand. It's just going to be self-awareness and promoting information about these boards side by side, because you get a lot of people asking questions to see if which board has the most amount of ride time, which board is going to be better for salt, which boards are going to be best for freshwater, which size board is going to be best. I do know that these smaller 4.2 Pros on like the Lift board and then the Ultra, you know, it's going to be a little bit harder for bigger riders to start on these. You know, these are essentially considered above average, you know, boards, considered pro level. I wouldn't say pro level, but you got to know what you're doing on these boards for weight distribution wise. You got to know how much weight you need to move forward and that sort of thing to plane out, and then rise up to like foil and that sort of thing. It's a big difference compared to the 4.9 or the 5.4 Lift boards, or the Sport or the Pro. Actually, the Sport is a battery on the Flite, but it's the Pro. Then you got your Flite scooter. You got like your Air. You got a bunch of different sized boards for the Flite. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So y'all stay tuned. We got the Flite Ultra board versus the Lift, and stay tuned and see you guys out on the water.
another thing I know that people might not know is that these controllers actually float. So you can actually submerge it and it will come right back up. Don't attach anything to it like a GoPro or anything, because the foam that's on here is meant for the weight of the controller, nothing else. Sadly, I've already lost the GoPro and the controller, and it did not come back up. So just be cautious of what you have on here. They do float with what they come with, but don't add any more weight. So here again, you can see they come up and they float right up. You toss them and they come right up. So it is nice. So another thing is, whenever you're in the water, right now I don't have it off, but always turn off the controller. It always turns off the power to the board itself, and you obviously really don't want to have your feet underneath there or your hands, because again, there's a possibility of you like cutting yourself or getting your feet by the prop and accidentally sending it, and that would be not a very good day. That would be an ER visit, and you would end up having to get off the water and stop efoiling for the day. So not very fun. Pay attention to that sort of stuff. And yeah, so we're gonna put the selfie stick, the 360, up on the dock so we can do some tricks. We got the phone out, so it is recording. And yeah, so y'all stay tuned and watch it.
we're back again, and you know, we kind of did a little bit of test riding out there and between the two boards, and you know, it's super fun. I love both boards. You know, I'm not paid by either one. I bought these boards with literally my own money. They're both pretty expensive boards to begin with in the first place, you know. So when you're looking at purchasing one of these, obviously you want to know which one is like the best, you know. And I'm not trying to pinpoint to which one is the best, and I'm pinpointing towards what I like, and what's my opinion, and that's the biggest thing. It's not biased. Lift is not sponsoring me, nor is Fliteboard sponsoring me. I actually just ran into an issue with the motor mast system. I couldn't get it figured out before I leave to Colombia and Dubai, which is within the next 2 weeks, and so I had to purchase a brand new motor mast system, which cost me $4,500. So you pick and choose your battles. I also custom built this like full setup to where this board fully used only cost me $7,200 versus this one cost me brand new $13,500, and it's just a lot of money. I get it, but you pick and choose your battle. So biggest differences on these boards are the sound. Lift says it's near silent, which I can agree. It is pretty quiet, significantly more quiet than the Flite board, and I can tell that. You guys can even hear it in my videos. I've even had a few comments to where saying that board is really loud, and that sort of thing. So that's a big difference. Lift is definitely a lot more quieter, but I can say the Flite newer series boards like the UL2 is really quiet, and it's significantly more quiet than this one currently, and this is the Flite Ultra. So this is a series 2. Yeah, and this is a V4, so this is the newest one. They are actually dropping the V5 Lift 5 here in March, so we'll see what they can produce, but I'm not liking what I see so far. So one thing I do like more about Flite is carving, maneuverability, and I can carve a lot tighter turns, circles, than I can compared to Lift. This rear mini tail actually is interchangeable. You actually take this off when you put it in your carrying case because it's separate from the main motor mast system. So you take that off, and I worked with Efoilsolutions out there in Hawaii, and he produces smaller mini tails, which that allows you to make tighter circles and that sort of thing. Lift, you can't really do that. You have no choice to shorten that fuselage. The only thing you can do is make it longer. They sell a 2-inch extension, and that just adds more stability in the basically the ride. Lift, like I said, Lift is pretty. I can take some sharp turns on this thing, I'm not gonna lie, but I can take sharper turns on the Flite board. So I'm just putting that out there. The throttle on the Lift, when you go up in gear levels, so when you're on power level 2 or 3 and you go up to say to 4 or 5 and you change it full throttle, go up, you know, to 4 and then 5, you will feel the board want to jolt up because of how much power increase it gives. And that's one thing, you know, you always got to be prepared to like throw your weight forward and that sort of thing. And it kind of catches you off guard just a little bit. It's done that to me several times, especially when you're up in like gear level 12 or level 13, 14, you know, up in the higher speeds, and all of a sudden, you know, you just power up and it just poof, and then all of a sudden, you know, when you go down on the levels and it actually wants to like drop so fast compared to where it's like you got to throw your weight backwards. Compared to the Flite, you can press all day up. You can just keep pressing up, and it's not gonna like jolt you up. It's gonna just keep on going, like smooth forward. That's Justin says it's built into the technology wise, it's like meant to do that because it like can sense the levels that you're at, so it doesn't want to shoot you forward, obviously, because you can't go from 16 miles an hour to 24 miles an hour immediately. So it's like it gradually speeds you up to where you want to be. In the beginning stages of when Lift was selling these boards, they said there was no maintenance required, which a lot of people were confused why Flite requires maintenance. Flite requires maintenance for the warranties and the services because it requires, obviously, rubber seals go out naturally. They have oil that's in the motor. You know, you need to change the oil in your car. This is a motor technically, so it's like you got to change the oil in your boat. You got to maintenance stuff. You just got to keep up maintenance on these boards. Change the oil, change some seals in the Lift board, and change some oil and some seals in the Flite board. So they both require maintenance. If someone has said that Lift has never required maintenance, they have no idea what they're talking about, and they're just blowing some smoke up your rear end. So they're both great boards. Obviously, things do wear out. You need to maintenance stuff. Another thing is Flite has a safety feature on their remote when you're in the water and it's on. You can't just grab the throttle and it will take out from underneath you like Lift can. You can have the remote on Lift in the water and you're like getting up on it and you can accidentally grab the throttle and it will just take right off. If you're doing that to Flite, it will not do that because it has a safety feature. You got to press some buttons in the sequence and it will gain access to the throttle. So that is nice. And it's real simple. I got used to it within a couple hours, and now I just do it naturally, not even looking at it. So it's really nice. So another big difference in both brands is motor breaching odds. The odds of motor breaching in a Lift is more than a Flite board because the motor system is it's above both wings. So you can breach the motor before you can need possibly wing breach. With the Flite board, the motor is level with the front wing, so when you get to that motor breaching stage, you're gonna already wing breach at the same time. So you can really get higher out of the water with the Flite board versus the Lift, but the odds of breaching a Flite board is less than breaching with a Lift board. So that's a big difference as well. A big thing too is everything inside both Efoills. So with Lift, you have an E-box inside here to worry about. You know, this could go possibly bad and it could screw up and that sort of thing. You have all these wires inside here to worry about versus Flite, which just has two power cables, positive and negative. You just hook them up on your battery and call it a day. There's nothing inside this board that you have to worry about to go wrong or fail. Versus Lift, you have some technology inside this more other than your battery, so it's more stuff to worry about and it's more things to possibly fail on you. So another huge difference between both brands is that Flite has 3 battery size options versus Lift that only has 2 battery size options. So far that we know of, they only have 2, which is the full range and the light range battery. The full range can get advertised 2.5 hours. I've actually exceeded past that time on a full range. So I've hit close to 2 hours and 45 minutes, gone about 25 miles. So I can push some max distance on this thing. The light range battery is advertised for 90-minute rides. It seems to drain pretty fast on the light range batteries. Flite has 3. The biggest one is the Explorer, and it's advertised for 2.5 hours, which I have that one. The next smallest one is going to be the Sport battery, which is advertised for, I believe, 90 minutes. And then the smallest one that they have is the Nano, which is advertised for, I think, 60 minutes or something like that. I could probably get an hour out of it, but if you're riding at max level, gear level 15, you know, you're gonna drain through it probably about a half hour, if not faster than that. So that's a big difference. Another thing about the batteries, Flite, their battery case is built out of titanium, so it has a titanium case around the plastic shell of the battery. which is very durable, so it's not as easy to puncture the battery, because it has a strong titanium case around it. Lift's battery has just a plastic shell around it. They don't have anything on the outside of it. So that is a big difference. Flite's a little bit more durable, I'd say, compared to the Lift's battery. So both are water cooled, but they're both water cooled differently. So this one actually has a inlet on the front of the nose cone, and it shoots in there with the motion going forward. It shoots in, goes up the motor mast system, goes up here. It goes inside through here into the E-box, and it cools the E-box and the computer and everything. And then it comes out the E-box and it shoots out the bottom of the board. So it stays cool. I've never had overheating issues with the lift board. The way Flite is air or water cooled is that basically the water goes around the outside of the mast system, and it basically cools it, basically kind of like a radiator, and it goes around the mast and it just cools the mast, and that's how it's cooled. So biggest thing, they are both amazing brands. Don't get me wrong, these are the top two brands, I believe. I don't think any other brand can compare and compete with these two brands right here, but they both kill it in both different industries. Lift is killing it in Efoills and non-powered foils. I think that they kill it more in technology wise on the foil side versus the Efoil side. Now Flite, they don't necessarily really make foil stuff, non-powered stuff, so their main focus is on the Efoills. So like the new, I think with the Mark Newson jet board, it's a non-powered, but it gives you a little boost to get up. So that is their first board. It's coming out. There's testing still and that sort of thing, so I'm really excited to kind of see what that is. I haven't seen Lift make anything near like something like that, so that's one cool thing about Flite. Their technology wise is just blowing out of the water. They just produce. It's been a little while since Lift has produced something that's actually like a big change to the game. They've done minor accessories, which is amazing, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to see some more stuff drop. So Lift has three main types of Efoills, which is their 5.4 board, their 4.9, and then their 4.2 Sport. So three different size boards. Flite has 6 types of different boards, which is a bunch. They got the scooter, they got the air, they got the pro, they have the ultra, they have the UL2, and then they have the Mark Newson surfboard. So they have a lot of different styles. They have all sorts of different sizes. They have, I think, 3 sizes for all different things. The Flite scooter, I believe, is one standard size, but they have like a handle in the front. I've dropped a small little short video on one with riding with Justin in Miami, so take a look at that one. It's pretty neat. So with that being said, that's kind of like all my notes I have listed down. I'm sure I'm probably maybe missing a lot more. A small little thing, Flite has actually a built-in surf leash like spot where you clip it to, versus Lift, you have to basically strap it to the handle. It doesn't really seem safe that way. I don't like it like that, so that's a kind of a game changer too. Both of them have nose guards. They both are amazing boards. So with this being said, I'm not making you choose between what brand to choose. I'm just more or less giving this video to give information on the top 2 brands that they have on the market. And these 2 brands I am lucky enough to be able to own and have fun with and learn as much as I can on these Efoills. Right now, so far, I'm more focused on Flite just because I'm going to be traveling a lot, and I have to take the Flite board. One big race is in Dubai, and they are actually going to be, Flite's going to be sponsoring that race, hosting it, and so they're supporting. They will be having all the batteries basically, so I got to take the whole system and everything with me, except for the battery, on the airplane and fly to Dubai actually here in about a month. So So I think it's like the 22nd and 23rd of November. I will be there. I'll be there for a whole week, but the race is the 22nd and 23rd. So with that being said, I really love the Flite board, and I really love the Lift board. If Flite could just pick up just maybe one or two things comparable to Lift, as in like the quietness, you know, I'd really love Flite just as I loved Lift for almost 3 years straight. I've ridden for 4 years, I believe, but I've been kiteboarding ever since I'm about 12 years ago. So it's been fun. I love it. I've kite foiled, you know, I've kited, twin tips, you know, I love it. Great fun, you know, just Efoills are less weather dependent, and it's a lot more easy. Like right now, I could be out Efoiling and not having to worry about a kite flying in the air and producing wind to basically make me have fun, that sort of thing. So with that being said, both brands are amazing. And yeah, so I hope this video was something good for y'all, and I hope it was very informational. I know a lot of people probably don't want to see this video, but I don't care. This is not a promotion for Lift or Flite. This is more of a self-awareness and informational video to see what brand you would prefer. There's not really many videos out there actually going down to it list by list, exactly like how they perform and that sort of thing. So I'm just glad I can produce this video for y'all. So if you guys liked it, drop a thumbs up on this video. Hit that subscribe button, you know, it helps a lot. Seeing that rise every day, just kind of builds a so if you guys liked the video, drop a thumbs up, and if you guys are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. It helps out a lot. Seeing your guys' reactions on these videos is pretty fun to me. I love making these videos for you guys. So yeah, so stay tuned and look out for the next video. Stay tuned for about a month out from now. I will be in Dubai. I'm actually going to Colombia first in the beginning of November, which is about 2 weeks out from right now, which will be about a week and a half out from when I drop this video. So that will be amazing. I'll be posting, I'll be getting lots of content and that sort of thing, footage all the time. We're going on a catamaran excursion, going island hopping with the Efoills, lots of cool things, all Colombian cuisine. You know, it's gonna be, the food's gonna be it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. I'm gonna surely miss my family here. I wish they would be coming with, but we gotta practice for Dubai and have fun. So y'all stay tuned and enjoy. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and we will see you guys later.